renters who face severe financial strain just to secure a place to live. Florida's cities with the highest rates of homelessness reflect.
Now see, I can kind of see how this applies because I stay here in the Fort Myers area. Good morning, much love and respect. Want to say this is kind of like one of my first content videos coming out. Actually was inspired by a cat by the name of Asmongold. I might be totally mutilating the wrong, and apologies, but no, need to start getting this content out. Basically goofing around with the computer. Going to keep the swearing down to a minimum, but as I pause and unpause this video, once again, this video is coming by a channel called The Worldify video, and it struck me a little, interesting because a homeless population here in Florida is kind of intriguing when you think about it. It's sad, nonetheless, but let's continue on with the video, and as we go along, I'll kind of chime in, and y'all can chime in the comments, basically trying to build up the confidence to go live on one of these. I'm basically a TikTok creator first. Hello everyone, this is the Manbaer. I get in and out of character, but once again, I digress. Let's go ahead and get through the video, and yeah, I'll just chime in and leave your comments down below.
Reflect the stark divide between prosperity and poverty. Many who lose their homes, whether due to disaster, financial hardship, or systemic inequities, find themselves in a precarious cycle of instability.
Your auto insurance company doesn't want you.
Gotta mind the ads.
You might be overpaying.
Like I said, still kind of learning this stuff out.
I had no idea that different auto insurance companies
pretty sure it'll go away pretty soon.
For the same
Oh God!
I payment until I found this site, and then I saw all the options available to me. I'm not sure how they do it.
Freaking commercials, right?
Ridiculous amount less than I was before.
Oh yeah, always got some money in the shot, or some girl living the carefree lifestyle. Gotta love it.
It's a free comparison site that partners with a ton of carriers to help you find the best deal. Click on the link below, enter your information and your car's information.
Just noticed that skip ad was right above my head technically. Okay, says the 10 cities in Florida with the largest homeless population. Shoot, we'll see if Fort Myers is on there. Oh my God, I hope not, but I'm not even gonna lie. Here in Lee County, I get up in the morning, I commute to work, in the early hours of the morning, and I do it via the electric bicycle. And oh man, you can't help but not notice them. You'll see them sleeping at the bus depots, and shuffling around, and it's starting to get cold here in Florida. And I'll even break away to a story about this cat named Baby Cakes. It's really kind of sad. But as we go along with the video.
In Tallahassee, homelessness remains a
State
pressing
capital.
issue despite proactive efforts to address it. Since early 2023, the city has implemented the Host Team program, an initiative aimed.
And don't be surprised, man. Them Malaysian ducks, they actually are on the menu down here.
At relocating homeless individuals from Leon County by reconnecting them with family, securing employment opportunities, providing medical care, or helping them escape dangerous circumstances like domestic violence and human trafficking. Through these efforts, over 650 individuals have been assisted, demonstrating a commitment to tackling the issue head-on.
Yeah, but when you think about that grand figure on a whole, that's kind of like actually kind of putting Band-Aid on cancer. And most of these people are out on, they're living out on the streets. They're out there because they're either by choice. Sadly, a lot of these individuals are veterans. The options down here are really slim, and you can tell, especially in the area that I stay at, what type of freaking life you live. You can tell by the car that most people drive. It's not uncommon you'd see the Maserati and all the Lamborghinis and the high-priced freaking Corvettes going down the road. But anyway, as we go on down the video, that this video will probably try to crank out that there's a lot of funding for the homeless down here, and that's really not the case. Most of them really don't go in for the funding because they're afraid of the vetting process and the road to recovery to get clean. Most of these guys are out there kind of I wouldn't say happy, but most of them are just like skating through life. That's what I kind of call it.
However, the problem persists and continues to grow. According to the Big Bend Continuum of Care, BBCOC, homelessness in Tallahassee has been on the rise, particularly among vulnerable populations.
Now see, the stats up north in Tallahassee I really can't attest to.
People with disabilities. The primary driver of this increase is the rising cost of rent in northern Florida,
Oh, most
which has
definitely.
displaced many residents who previously enjoyed stable housing. As of
Yeah,
this,
and that's the thing, the housing down here and the cost is just crazy. I was around here during the 2008 crisis, and some of the stuff that's in the recipe now with all this housing stuff, it kind of reeks of 2007, 2008.
this year, the number of homeless households in Leon County has climbed from 664 to 691. Among these, the city has seen an increase in adults aged 25 and older, reflecting the
Now, whether them stats are up to par or correct, looking at this video, it's about a 2-week-old video. But if that's on par with anything that's happening here in Southwest Florida, I think them stats are pretty much next to correct.
the widening reach of this crisis. The situation for veterans is particularly concerning. The number of homeless veterans has surged from 92 last year to 112 this year. Many of these individuals are forced to find refuge in cars, shelters,
Yeah.
or even on the streets,
Yeah.
underscoring the urgent need for comprehensive solutions. Tallahassee's efforts through programs like the HOST team represent an important
Like
step toward
shelters.
addressing homelessness. But the rising numbers highlight the complexity of the issue. As rental rates and economic pressures continue to grow, so too does the need for sustainable strategies to ensure housing stability for the city's most vulnerable residents.
Oh, and that's agreed. Especially down here in my area, it's kind of like it's a shame how you see all these buildings here in the Fort Myers area. You see all these capable buildings that can be used for like shelters and outreach centers, but it's not uncommon that they turn these other stores into something dumb like a pawn shop or a Chinese restaurant or anything. Relatively freaking nice buildings, and and it's like this county, it ain't like they don't have the money. I mean, there's a lot of high price clients that stay down here, and granted a lot of them live in Naples and Collier County, but we see them commuting in this county all the time. It really isn't no secret. The old folks down here that come to retire, and they have that NIMBY attitude. They don't want that kind of stuff in their backyard, but when the homeless population seems to leak into everyday society, it gets to the point where it's like, oh my God, is it problematic? Is it a humanitarian issue? And I lean toward the more point where it's like a humanitarian issue, where it's like a lot of people could be freaking focusing their lives to bettering themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's more like a look from the inside. But as we go along with the video, in the next video I crank out, I want to try to get kind of a live feel on this, so I'm not really talking to empty space, and eventually can get a feel of what's going on and a people's take, if you want to say, on it. But let's move along.
Pensacola, Florida's westernmost city, is renowned for its picturesque beaches and tranquil coastal lifestyle.
Oh yeah, that's like up there where the military and the Navy men are.
Continues to pose a significant challenge. Local government,
Pensacola,
county officials,
wings of
and
gold.
community organizations have come together with an ambitious goal to reduce homelessness.
That dog didn't
25%
seem like he was,
by 2025.
minding it too much.
The latest count in late January revealed 123 homeless individuals in Escambia and Santa Rosa counties, reflecting a slight improvement from the 1,180 reported the previous year.
Oh yeah,
However,
I can
the
only
downward
imagine.
trend has
they're not going to have that kind of mess in the land of Mickey. All right, as we go on.
Emerged. Chronic homelessness has risen sharply. Defined as individuals without stable housing for a year or more, the number of chronically homeless has increased from 234 to 365.
And then that's really kind of like a wide blanket of people. I mean, granted, there are like they said earlier in the video, the masses that are, sleeping in their car or what I would be considered boondocking. But as we go along,
scoring the long-term difficulties faced by those unable to escape the cycle of homelessness.
Plus, I think we're either coming up for a census or so. How do you declare this in the census? I mean, you'd think this would be gathered in a census.
Of targeted programs aimed at assisting this vulnerable group. However, youth homelessness remains a growing concern, with the number of homeless individuals under 18 rising from 88 to 96.
Yeah, and the youth homelessness is just staggering.
Sarasota, located hundreds of miles from Pensacola, grapples.
Now see, the Sarasota, Bradenton area, that's more towards my stomping grounds. As we go on along with the video, the beach is pretty much picturesque of how Fort Myers Beach used to look like before we got sideswiped by Ian. Aside from Margaritaville, the rest of the island looked like it got hit by an atomic blast. But as we go on.
With its own homelessness crisis. In 2023, local partnerships recorded approximately 150 homeless residents.
I can see the statistic. Yeah, I can see a slight uptick in statistics.
This
especially with the COVID.
Composed of white males, with significant numbers reporting additional vulnerabilities. 205 individuals struggle with substance abuse.
And see, I think that's what the major factor is, with homelessness. A lot of them are dealing with a lot of substance abuse things and mental illness. A lot of these issues that tend to get swept under the rug and misdiagnosed. Like I'm a child of the '80s, and I remember back then it was more looked like a bum. Oh, why don't you clean yourself up, you bum? Don't you got you got a problem, hey one of them wagging your fingers moments. But no, come to find out, it's actually more of like a disease thing. I'm not at liberty to be an expert on that. I can only speak on my years of recovery, and change got to come with it from within, and you need to want it. A lot of these people come from broken homes. A lot of these people have issues that that are just underlying, and that really need to be addressed by either professional help or some kind of therapy, which I am not. But as we go along with the video, a lot of this stuff can be literally traced down to like hardcore drugs, man, and that kind of stuff can really lead you down a hole.
231 face mental health challenges.
Exactly.
And 166 veterans.
Yeah,
with
imagine that.
Unlike cities that rely heavily on large-scale shelters, Sarasota's city commissioners have adopted a more personalized approach to addressing homelessness.
Looks like they had like the tent approach.
Alright, so listen up. State Farm.
Hey, go another commercial.
$197 for car
State Farm.
I got a friend who told me about this website. I'm spending $58 a month. Full coverage.
On creating permanent, subsidized housing solutions
now see,
to individual.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Tailored solutions. I wouldn't per se, new housing, because we do live in a finite kind of a way when it comes to materials. But let's keep going on with the videos. It's almost like how you want to get out there and fund the stock that's all this Elon Musk tiny house crap. I mean it's worth all looking into. The place that I stay at, I'm not gonna freaking badmouth or anything, but this apartment that I stay on, it looked like it was built in the early '80s, late '70s. It's still. And they charge too much for these freaking things, and it's like, I kind of share something in common with some of these people that are homeless, because, I'm just a few paychecks, a few missed shifts from being in that type of boat. I'm actually here at the mercy of someone else, and God bless, Jesus in my life. And, most people, that's just it. They just don't have the will or the ability, and they just think everything's going to be all candy and cake at the end. But let me warn you. You just here to make you overstand. You got to think about things in life, and it's like a lot of us as men, we come upon this pondry much too late in life. But as we move along with the video, they're going to be talking about the building.
Needs. These new living spaces integrate a variety of supportive services, such as counseling, rehabilitation programs, and job training to help residents.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. Putting on a mask, he's probably not doing it for the COVID thing. It's just, what can you say? It's freaking, it's kind of shameful. It's embarrassing. You don't want to be on camera,
Gain stability.
Yeah, at least that's for me.
In addition to its emphasis
mask
on
up.
permanent housing, Sarasota has been encouraged to expand services within temporary shelters. This strategy aims to provide immediate assistance, such as meals, medical care, and basic amenities, for those awaiting long-term.
And it makes you wonder what's going to happen. I'm not a political guy, but especially with like Trump. Basically going to declare homelessness illegal.
Sarasota's approach underscores the importance of individualized care in addressing the complexities of homelessness by combining permanent housing with access to comprehensive support services. The city is working.
That's just sad when kids are involved in it.
To create sustainable solutions for its homeless population. Tampa, often referred to as Cigar City, is a bustling urban hub of Hillsborough County, but it is increasingly impacted by a surge in homelessness driven by skyrocketing housing costs. According to the Tampa Hillsborough Homeless Initiative, this year's count recorded 1,513 homeless individuals,
again with the tent cities,
marking a modest increase from the 1,452 individuals counted in 2020. The last count, conducted before the COVID-19 pandemic, the February 24th count, involved over 120 volunteers canvassing the area to capture an accurate snapshot of the crisis. Particularly concerning is the rise in...
I think that's kind of like what it is. The voluntary workers kind of, work on like a census type of scale, because it's kind of sad when you think about all this. We have a surge in this homeless stuff, and I'm like, well, if they have adequate census taker and people out there crunching the numbers, and instead of sending all the money to these dirty wars, it's, for crying out loud, when there's people with a helping hand, it's just sad. Tampa's a big city.
Since 2018,
whoa, kind of glitched out there.
Age 62 and older.
And the thing is, that's also another thing, as they have the aging population in this homeless thing, this whole homeless equation, where it's like you see the lady out there pushing a cart, and it looks like she's like 80 years old, and it's like, oh man, it's just, bro, that could be you and my grandmother. It's just really sad.
67%. Family homelessness has also seen significant growth.
And the retirement age, and practically individuals are literally working themselves to death.
379 to 458.
I can see it.
Highlight the evolving and multifaceted nature of homelessness in Tampa.
And you kind of need that wood underneath the tent here in Florida, because man, it rains a lot. You don't want to be flooded in a tent. It's kind of...
Populations, like seniors and families, disproportionately affected. The city's growing homelessness crisis underscores the urgent need for comprehensive strategies to address the root causes, including affordable housing shortages and economic inequality. West Palm Beach, known for its warm climate and vibrant community.
I think my city's going to be spared on this list, but we'll go along. West Palm, that's actually on the other coast, Atlantic Ocean side.
In response, the city has taken steps to address this issue, including a recent project that successfully transitioned 40 long-term homeless individuals from the streets into stable, permanent.
Now see, when I was living out in Colorado for a time, the state or county or municipality, yeah, it is amazing, for people who do want to actually get off the streets and get it right. These transitional housings and these programs, they're amazing. They're, as we go along.
Permanent housing. Despite
it's like a path to permanent housing, pretty much.
West
Yeah.
Palm Beach Police Chief Frank Adderley noted that local law enforcement actively enforces regulations to maintain public order, removing individuals obstructing.
And I think that's kind of like what it takes. I'm not trying to side with the police in any kind of way, or but I think it does take that. Hey, buddy, let's move it along. Especially in the major cities. I mean, I'm not saying that people shouldn't have their right to sleep, but I mean, for crying out loud, if you're doing it right in front of a Wendy's, I mean, I think it's just time to move along.
Sidewalks or occupying parks, with violators facing
exactly, like in public parks and spaces.
To address public safety, they also highlight the tension between
I mean, I've been there. You're trying to push your kid on the swing, and you see some.
Drivers of the crisis is the city's prohibitive housing costs.
Oh yeah, they're not gonna have that crap in the city of Flagler. That's for sure.
Apartment in West Palm Beach is approximately
Flagler's folly.
31% higher than the national.
And the thing is that when it comes to Florida and the stuff like that, I can kind of go on and talk about it forever.
The affordability gap pushes many residents to the brink of homelessness, particularly.
Yeah, the affordability gap is affordability crap.
As wages fail to keep pace with rising
costs. And I think that's what it is too. The pay gap too.
Florida's growing opioid and heroin epidemic.
Oh yeah.
Exacerbated homelessness.
Oh yeah.
Many homeless individuals are drawn to West Palm Beach for its warm weather, available services, and perceived safety.
And a lot of people can fall victim to that trap.
But the combination of high housing costs and substance abuse challenges makes escaping homelessness a daunting prospect.
It is. And that's just one of the things. And like Florida with that whole opium drug McGillicuddy type trap, it's like once you get freaking involved in the system here in Florida, it's like a never-ending revolving door. It's like a cycle. Good luck getting out of it. We actually have a saying down here where I'm from in Fort Myers, where you see most fools come down here on vacation, they get put on probation, and they leave with a violation. It's just, yeah. I think Florida's notorious for that.
Area faces a unique set of challenges in combating homelessness.
Yeah.
Unlike other cities where high rents and housing shortages dominate the narrative, Jacksonville's...
That, and you literally, and especially where I'm from, you literally can't freeze to death down here. It's not uncommon just to see one just sleeping out there, bare naked McGillicuddy.
Homelessness crisis stems largely from inadequate federal funding during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
This financial gap left...
Yeah, and the thing is I think that's exactly what it was during the whole CV-19 gimmick. Florida didn't really take a big hit per se, because I think it was one of the last states to actually shut down, whatever. But no, it definitely did create an influctuation or a freaking... Yeah, definitely a spike.
Many residents unable to stay in their homes. A problem compounded by stagnant wages that fail to keep pace with the rising cost of living. According to the annual point-in-time count conducted by Changing Homelessness, approximately 1,247 individuals in the Jacksonville area were experiencing homelessness as of January 2023. However, local organizations and city leaders are working
and even if this was like the last state to whatever shut down or whatever, we're finding out now how the offense of the CV-19 just really had long-lasting effects. And I even said this during the beginning of it. Hope to God I don't get to monetize or any kind of junk like that. But I've been an outcrier from the beginning, kind of how I thought it was kind of, hokey. But I'm not surprised that the lawsuits aren't rolling down. The lawsuits will come.
Proactively to address the issue with a comprehensive 5-year plan aimed at expanding shelter capacity and improving support systems for those in need.
Yeah.
Key elements of Jacksonville's strategy include expanding shelter capacity by increasing admissions, adding more beds, and contracting with
more
hotels
space
to reserve up to 100.
Exactly. Some of these motels down here are vacant and empty anyway.
Rooms
most of the year.
Accommodating 2 people each. These measures.
Shit, I saw somewhere if you can get a freaking stadium ticket in an NFL game for $1, it's
city
sad.
also plans to implement a shared database accessible to shelters and law enforcement agencies.
Now see, that's some kind of like iRobot shit, tagging the homeless.
Assistance for individuals experiencing homelessness.
I'm not smirking because I think this, it'd be jacked up.
Capital of the world, and a city synonymous with luxury and leisure.
Lauderdale.
Stark contrast in its homelessness crisis. Despite its affluent reputation, an estimated 1,500 to 1,700 people live unsheltered on the streets of Broward County, with an additional 600 residing in shelters. This places Fort
Yeah, that's kind of like how you'd see in Fort Myers on the bus stations. And that too, like I said, they'll just be conked out on the sidewalk.
Demographic that includes veterans and individuals experiencing chronic homelessness. The city and county are particularly impacted by chronic homelessness, with approximately 856 individuals facing long-term housing instability. This places the area third nationwide for chronic homelessness in its category. Additionally, Fort Lauderdale and Broward County rank 5th in the nation for homeless veterans, with around 220 veterans living without permanent shelter. These figures highlight the complexities of addressing homelessness in a region marked by both wealth and significant socioeconomic disparities.
And that's just the thing.
Efforts to combat this crisis.
That's just the thing, the rich don't get richer just by being generous. Saying.
Will require tailored solutions that address the unique needs of vulnerable populations, such as veterans and those facing chronic homelessness.
Yeah, definitely.
St. Petersburg faces a significant homelessness crisis, with economic hardship as the leading cause. Over 37%
That's over by the Tampa area as well.
Individuals cite financial difficulties as the primary driver of their homelessness, far outpacing substance addiction, which accounts for 7.3%.
Just saw Worldify on the tent. They must be like
on a single night in January, approximately 2,110 people.
And don't get it wrong, folks. I'm not making this video as kind of like a poverty porn, or an ploy just for likes. I think of it kind of like hits kind of home to me, because it's like, I don't know if it applies to anyone out there in the channel or in the viewing space, but it's like, we all could be just, a stroke away, or a sadness away, or a fuck up away,
We're experiencing homelessness across Pinellas County. The impact of this crisis on children is particularly heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's definitely the saddest part there.
Schools shows that between August 2023 and January 2024, a staggering 3,555 children experienced homelessness. Of these, 57% were aged between 6 and 12 years old, highlighting the profound vulnerability of young students.
Yeah.
The racial disparity within this population is striking. Nearly half of these homeless children are Black or African American, despite Black students constituting only...
And being that, that me as a parent, these are milestones. I can only imagine, encountering them milestones by being through extreme adversity. It's got to be
19% of the district's total student population. St. Peter...
I want it, but I can't afford it.
Oh no, is that the ear digging tool? Thanks, but no thanks.
Petersburg's homelessness crisis underscores the deep-rooted socio-economic challenges affecting its community.
And it makes you wonder where like all these religious outfits are, and the churches and the Salvation Armies and basically your churches, because they always are the ones who preach mercy, and I don't know, that's
Orlando,
the city of Mickey, exactly. I don't think they're going to have that kind of mess up there in the land of Mickey. But as we move along.
Grappling with a growing homelessness crisis. Over the past year, homelessness in Central Florida has surged by 5%. Driven primarily by soaring rent prices.
I could see that.
The average monthly rent in Orlando now exceeds $1,700.
I could see that. I could see that. That kind of like mirrors the same type of market in my area. That, and I can actually recall, I think I seen a video where it's like even Disney employees, they're homeless. They're basically living. I seen one where a guy was living in a freaking motel with like 2 kids and his wife, and he's like, yeah.
Representing a nearly
the land of
40%
Mickey.
Increase since 2019.
That's what I call it, the land of Mickey. You'll see the freaking, what do they call it, the light post with the Mickey Mouse ears. Yeah.
Wages coupled with relentless inflation have made basic housing increasingly unaffordable, forcing many into homelessness as they struggle to cope with the region's rising cost of living. A recent 3-day count, led by the Homeless Services Network, in collaboration with local partners and volunteers, documented 2,258 homeless individuals across the region. This includes those in shelters and transitional housing, as well as 587 unsheltered individuals living outdoors without any form of protection. Of this population, 56.4% reside in Orange County, 31% in Osceola County, and 12.6% in Seminole County, reflecting the widespread nature of the crisis throughout Central Florida. Miami, celebrated for its Art Deco architecture, international cuisine, and world-class events like Art Miami Open,
wild feral cats,
economic wealth. Yet beneath its glamorous exterior, Miami grapples with the largest homeless population in Florida.
Beneath its fancy facade,
the city has seen a 3% increase over the past 3 years, equating to approximately 8.1 homeless people per 1,000 residents. High living costs, among the steepest in the United States.
Yeah, and that's one of the main factors. The cost of high living is just ridiculous.
Fuel this crisis, making basic housing unattainable for many. In an effort to address the issue, Miami Beach has recently enacted a ban on outdoor sleeping, compelling those without homes to seek shelter. The city has also allocated $3.1 million in federal funding to expand shelter beds, provide
they had them tiny houses there.
Mental health care services. However, significant challenges remain. A persistent funding gap and a shortage of adequately trained staff limit the capacity of local shelters to meet the growing demands. Miami's homelessness crisis underscores the complexity of balancing enforcement measures with compassionate care, while efforts to expand...
Now that one down there, you can definitely tell that it's majorly drug involved.
Sources are underway. Systemic issues such as the high cost of living and insufficient funding must be addressed to create sustainable solutions for the city's most vulnerable residents.
First, it's the most effective at reducing homeless recidivism, regardless of the underlying causes of that person's homelessness, and it's also the least expensive. So again, whether somebody has mental illness or substance use or not, getting them into housing first and then addressing those issues is the way to go.
Yeah.
So critics add that because the city of Miami Beach does not have
a firm foundation, like I said, the individual's got to want it, and just putting them on a track to recovery. You know what I'm saying? Holding the individual accountable.
Shelter, that this is essentially a measure that supports
homeless
people outside.
If you can just only see it, it just seems to be like a circle of violence, and it seems like most of the American public just, I wouldn't want to say they condone it, but we're not complacent in this matter. And thank you for tuning into the video. Much love and respect. Now, we're not going to do any wrestling bios today. Maybe in our next watch, on like a Beavis and Butthead type gimmick, commentator type deal. But as for everyone tuning in on my first gimmick, much love and respect. I did promise everyone a story. The story is about a guy that I once knew here in Fort Myers. I didn't really know him personally. Was actually, we were bailing one of my uncles out of jail one time, I think, and yeah, he was a homeless man, and no, they called him by the name of Baby Cakes. In real life story, this man was homeless, and it was around February, around the cold months here in Fort Myers, and this cat would literally, he went, and he's done it multiple times, so I've been told. This guy literally went into the freaking lobby where they let freaking, jail, where they let inmates out, where they let them loose whenever you come to pick them up to make bail. This guy literally went in the freaking lobby, pulled out a crack pipe, and started smoking crack there in the freaking jail lobby just to get put in jail so he wouldn't have to freaking sleep outside in the Florida winters. And yeah, he would just stay in there months at a time, and then the next thing you know, he'd be out in the freaking springtime, and so goes the revolving door. Thinking my thoughts on the Trump thing, him going to try to make homeless illegal. I just don't want to disclose too much of that on this channel, but I will leave that open to comments. To anyone tuning in on the channel, much love and respect. I will post my next premiere coming out. I want to do a live one. I'm learning this out. You can follow me on TikTok at Manbaer Pig. I'm on Instagram, on X, and Twitter. I'm here on YouTube. Most of my videos are in the Manbaer Minute series. Please like and subscribe to the video. Much comment, much love and respect. More comment coming out. If I seem to be a bit nervous, because I'm just getting my freaking sea legs. And like I said, appreciate the tuning in. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.